Yo, what's up, guys? We're back, and this week it's going to be for UFC on ESPN 19, UFC Vegas 17, I believe. Jack Hermansson versus Marvin Vettori. New main event, but pretty decent card. And first off, I just want to say, thank you guys so much. Last week, I was talking about how likes really helped the video, and we almost had 500 likes in that video. I think we had like almost 440, something like that. So that was fucking awesome, man. If we can do that again, if we can get to 500 likes, that'd be sick. So just like last time, make sure to hit that like button, and thanks for always supporting the channel. And we're gonna keep going forward. I'm gonna keep giving you guys these good picks, and hopefully we can keep making money. But yeah, man, that was awesome. I really appreciated that. So thanks everyone who hit the like button, and let's try to do it again this week. Let's try to break that record. So yeah, that was awesome. And the first fight of the night, I'm glad this is the first fight of the night, because like, what the fuck, man? What am I really gonna say with this fight? We got Gian Villante, Jake Collier. Last time we saw both these guys, they looked pretty pathetic. I guess Villante had a much better performance, you could say, because he didn't get finished in less than a minute. He actually went in there and was able to even have good moments. He was probably winning the fight. He dropped Maurice Green and then got caught in a submission, almost like it was like an exhaustion submission. But, Jake Collier, he looked horrendous on the scale. This is a fight I want to see, like, which of these guys was more embarrassed by their last performance, because it's like, whoever looks better on the scales will probably win. But I don't know. I was looking at Jake Collier's Twitter, and I couldn't really see much. I was looking at his last fight. He's talking about 2 days before the fight, he can't find dip on Fight Island, and he wants like Grizzly Chew. It's like, dude, like, come on, man. You gotta get your head in the right mindset. And he hasn't won a fight in a long time. He came back, just looked atrocious. Like I said, maybe if at the weigh-in he comes out there and he looks in better shape, maybe I'll pick him. But just looking at the fight, Jake Collier is a guy that used to beat guys off will, off heart, off cardio, wrestling, being kind of dirty, high volume. I don't think he has any of that anymore. And in this fight, he's going to be fighting a bigger guy. I think he's going to be the superior wrestler, Gian Villante, so I don't see Collier taking him down. I think Villante is going to have the speed advantage, power advantage. I think he carries the heavyweight, power and frame a little bit better than Collier. So I just don't see a lot of path to victory for Collier, to be honest with you. Even though Villante is like really bad, I still feel like he should be able to beat this guy. If Collier looks in significantly better shape or something, then maybe he'll be able to outwork him on the numbers, get a decision win, or who knows? Maybe he could get a submission. If Villante gets super tired, maybe he could take him out. But I'm going to go with Gian Villante first round knockout in this fight. But yeah, who gives a shit about this fight? But I'm glad it's the first fight of the night. So got to go with Villante. And we're going from one of the worst fights on the card to one of the best fights on the card, in my opinion, with Damon Jackson taking on Ilia Topuria. I feel like this fight, could have even been on the main card. But this is a sick fight, man. If you watch my channel, I picked both these guys last time to win as underdogs. They won pretty easily. Damon Jackson, he was probably losing, but he got the finish. And then Ilia Topuria had a dominant decision victory. But Ilia Topuria, he continued that Georgian invasion, man. The Georgians have been doing really good in the UFC, and came in here against Youssef Zalal, who was undefeated, and just dominated him. And Topuria, 9-0. He's one of the better prospects at featherweight. 23 years old. Training out at MMA Masters for this camp. And he's getting a big step up here, though, in my opinion, from Youssef Zalal. Damon Jackson is a much more experienced veteran. He's dangerous. He's a lot bigger than Youssef Zalal. So I do feel like it's a significant step up in competition. But Topuria is an explosive striker. He's a little bit wild. He's definitely improving his boxing, but he's still relies heavily on the grappling, but maintains distance well. Pretty good jab, good nice 1-2. He has good pull counters, pretty good overhands and lead uppercuts. And the uppercut in this fight is what I think he's going to be trying to look for, because Damon Jackson does duck his head a lot. He will also throw some really tight hooks, body head, but Topuria can get a little bit wild with his hands, overextend, really kind of throw himself out of position. And in his fight in Brave FC, I think it was Brave FC 29, he did struggle a little bit with the range of his opponent. He got hit with a few kicks, even got dropped with a high kick early on, but he ended up getting a really nice knockout in that fight. His striking looked pretty good against Youssef Zalal. He was able to pressure, kept Youssef on the back foot, and easily used the striking to get into his takedown entries. And Ilia is a really strong grappler, man. Really nice takedowns, good level changes, good timing. He closes the distance pretty quickly. He's an explosive guy, and he will use his hands to disguise the level change to set him up. He's an aggressive passer. He grapevines the legs and really good at sticking the back. Once he takes the back, he has really good control and really good rear naked choke victories. He'll hunt guillotines, arm bars, really good front chokes, and he's very dangerous and aggressive in that first round. 7 first-round submission victories. Seven first-round submission victories. In his fight with Youssef Zalal, Topuria, did take down Zalal, dominated him, got pretty close on a few guillotines, on a few submissions, but was not able to finish, and it was the first time he kind of got extended into the later rounds, and you did see his gas tank really kind of go down in that third round. He looked visibly tired. That was the first time Topuria went to a third round, first time he went to a decision. So, it is learning experience, and he's probably going to be better for it. But that wasn't like a super hard fight in terms of he kind of, did what he wanted, and he still is very tired. So that's something that you have to take into account against a guy like Damon Jackson, who Damon Jackson once again showed in his last fight, man, you should never sleep on this guy. He's an all-action veteran. He added another victim to his list of submissions. Submitted Mirsad Bektic in the third round. Bektic was ranked 15th, and he took that fight on 3 days' notice, so that's a pretty substantial win right there. And Jackson, he has a sick record. He's 18-3, 17 finishes. He's only been in decision one time in 22 fights, and I don't think I've ever seen a boring Damon Jackson fight, man. He's a fucking dog. He's about that life. He's willing to take punishment and get to his end goal of victory. And on the feet, Damon Jackson, he's pretty solid. Offensively, he's pretty dangerous. Good frame. Tall, long. Throws really sharp, straight punches. Good jab. Really nice 1-2. Jab, overhand, right combination you'll throw. Pretty accurate guy. Go check out that overhand right knockout he had against Nate Jennerman if you haven't seen it. Pretty vicious. He throws some really nice front kicks, knees to the body. He'll throw some nice jab to front kicks or jab to round kick combinations. And he's really improved his striking, but his finishes, do still come mostly on the mat. He has 3 knockouts in his career, and his defense is still kind of suspect. He does have a bad habit of dropping his hands, throwing a lot of naked leg kicks, and he also can duck his head down when he's throwing, get timed with uppercuts, with flying knees. He just isn't the best athlete either, so sometimes guys that are, a little bit faster can maybe touch him up as he tries to come inside, use their footwork, and, move, avoid the grappling, avoid the counters. But Damon Jackson, he's extremely tough, man. He's durable. When he gets hurt, he becomes more dangerous. And you have to put a guy like Damon Jackson out cold to stop him from coming forward. He's been knocked out twice, but in both those fights, he got flatlined. So, he's not going to stop coming even if you hurt him. And super dangerous grappler. They don't really call him the Leech for no reason, man. He has pretty good wrestling. He's an NAIA All-American. In the clinch, he has pretty good knees, dirty boxing. Sets his takedowns up with his striking pretty well. His defensive wrestling isn't the best, but, he kind of likes to get put on his back, attack guillotines, attack from his guard, and take down Damon Jackson at your own risk. Mirsad Bektic learned that in his last fight. Took him down multiple times. He got into a lot of dominant positions, but you don't want to scramble with Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson's very calm in bad positions. He has the cardio to scramble and catch you even deep in fights, and Jackson has a nasty guillotine. He's always looking to wrap that neck, and that's what he got again. He hit another mounted guillotine against Mirsad Bektic. He hit it in the third round of a fight. He took on 3 days' notice, man, that he probably was losing 2018. So that just shows really good mindset. That shows that he's a veteran, that he's never going to quit on himself, and his cardio is really good as well. So that proved a lot to me in terms of, for Damon Jackson. That was an impressive victory there. Jackson will also look to hit Kimuras. He'll roll for leg locks off his back. He is never static on the ground. He's always making opponents work. And when he can get on top, he has nasty ground and pound, really good passing ability, a lot of submissions he goes to, good arm triangles, rear naked chokes. He has 14 submission wins. And he's a tough veteran at this point. He's super durable. He has great cardio. He's super dangerous. He's never going to give up on himself. And I just feel like this is a substantial step up for Ilia Topuria. Youssef Zalal, he's a smaller guy, so he's still tall, like 5'10", 5'11", similar height to Damon Jackson, but he doesn't have like the physicality that Jackson has. He's not as strong. He's not as muscled up. He's a guy that's fought at 135. He's 23 years old as well, so he's kind of a similar age to Ilia. He's a prospect. Damon Jackson, he's 32 years old, man. He's a grown man. He has that power, that featherweight frame. He could strike a little bit better now. And his cardio is top notch. He's always scrambling. He never allows fighters to rest even when they're on top. And we saw Ilia Topuria gas out in his last fight. So if this fight gets extended into these later rounds, late second, third round, it's going to be Damon Jackson, in my opinion, starting to take over, starting to get into dominant positions, force these grappling exchanges. Ilia maybe will look a little bit weathered. And that's where Damon Jackson could potentially catch another submission, get a late TKO with ground and pound, get a late knockout. Topuria, in my opinion, is either going to have to come in here with a more deliberate game plan to like strike on the feet, keep it low volume, use the jab, and try to just time a big uppercut, a knee, and take Damon Jackson out. Because I think if he tries to grapple here and make it a high-paced fight, go for the submission in the first round, if he doesn't get it, he's going to be in big trouble in the later rounds. Because like I said, man, Damon Jackson is not going to give up in this fight. Even if he's down 2018, 2016, he has 2 losses, 10-8 rounds, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to take him out of there. So I feel like this fight should be like much closer to a pick'em. I don't really get why Topuria is such a big favorite. So just due to that, I'm going to go with Damon Jackson, 3rd round submission in this fight. I'm going to pick him to, maybe he's going to be losing the fight. Maybe it's going to be 1-1. But I think he's going to be the guy with more experience in the later rounds, the more veteran savvy, the more dangerous potentially grappler later on in the fight. So give me Damon Jackson to come in here and get a 3rd round finish. And in the 3rd fight tonight, we got another good one here. We got a flyweight fight between Cody Durden and Jimmy the Brick Flick. And Jimmy Flick, man, after 20 MMA fights, 10 years as a pro, he's finally getting his shot in the UFC. And he's had a great year so far. He's 3-0. He picked up back-to-back solid wins. He won the LFA title in just 30 seconds and then followed that up with a submission victory on the Contender Series. And Jimmy Flick, I mean, he's a submission artist, man. He has kind of limited stand-up. He throws a lot of kicks. He will look to throw some hard low kicks. He doesn't really use his hands a lot, but he will throw that lead hook. He'll flurry with some punches to get in on takedowns, and he will throw some body kicks, head kicks. He was actually able to catch Chris Gutierrez coming in with a front kick that dropped Gutierrez. And Flick, he is low volume, but he feints a lot. He gets you thinking with the level changes. And, he does have a pretty bad habit, though, of backing up to the cage, shelling up when he gets hit. He allows fighters to close the distance, and in the clinch, I mean, he doesn't really do very well. He doesn't have a good defense there. Flick has been finished by KO in 4 of his 5 losses, and he has no knockouts in his career, so it kind of emphasizes even more that his striking is purely to set up takedowns. As far as the grappling, I mean, Jimmy Flick's objective in every fight is to get the fight to the mat. He'll use his striking, like I said, as a distraction to get in on the legs or get in the clinch. And good single leg, he will explode into doubles as well. And he's good at using the single or the double leg to drive opponents to the cage, work from there, chain wrestle, pretty good body locks. And his wrestling isn't super high level, but he gets it done. And he could struggle to hit takedowns against some fighters, though. With this fight against Cody Durden, I'm not sure he's going to be able to hit takedowns consistently. But when Flick does get on top, he's pretty aggressive. He has a good jiu-jitsu game, always looking to pass or attack the finish. And he isn't a lay-and-pray guy. I mean, when he gets on top, if you saw his last match, he showed off a lot of wrinkles in his ground game. He was attacking from everywhere, top, bottom, it didn't matter. On top, he has really good back takes. He'll look to attack front chokes. He'll, attack arms from side control, from top mount, from back mount. His arm triangle is really good. And when Flick gets put on his back, he'll attack leg locks. He has great sweeping ability. In his last fight, he was transitioning from submission to submission very fluidly. He had a really nasty sequence at the end of the second round where he went from a mounted triangle to an omoplata to a triangle, and Smith got saved by the bell, and Flick was eventually able to catch Nate Smith in an arm triangle in the third round. Flick, he has 13 submission victories, so if he gets you on the mat, he's definitely dangerous. His cardio is really good. He definitely is going to be pumped up to show he belongs here, and he's a good fighter. But Cody Durden, I would say he performed very well in his debut, all things considered, in the UFC. He took a fight on short notice against a really talented guy in Chris Gutierrez, and he was able to get out a draw in that one. Now he's going back down to 125 pounds. He has a little bit more notice for this fight, and he kind of wants to show the world what he can do a little bit better. But I am a little bit nervous about that 125-pound cut, because when you look at it, I believe he's had a couple times he tried to get to 125 and he missed weight. And the one time he made it to 125 and fought there was actually against Justin Scoggins' brother, Jared Scoggins, and he got dominated. He lost the fight by decision. So he hasn't been able to get a victory at 125 pounds yet in his career. But I do believe like Durden is going to be the superior striker. He's the better athlete. He has better footwork. He switches stances well. He's just the faster guy. He's aggressive. He pressures forward. He's good in the pocket. Really good low kicks, good jab, good body head attacks. He's good at jabbing his way inside for that straight right hand, and he will feint the level changes, come over the top with a big power overhand. You'll close the distance with straights. He's attacking the body with big hooks a lot, good round kicks, good question mark kicks. He has good eyes, good head movement as well, and he'll use his ability to mix it up to his advantage, like feinting level changes, set up his strikes, and he then will pull fighters into takedowns as well, kind of keep them off balance. And Durden did get beat up the last 2 rounds of his fight with Chris Gutierrez, though. The leg kicks added up. He kind of became too desperate going for the takedown, started to get countered, and he showed toughness to survive to the final bell. But in the 3rd round, I believe he got dropped twice, and he's going to be the superior striker here, like I said, so he should try to exploit that, keep it on the feet. Durden does have 5 knockouts in his career, but he's been mainly a grappler. I mean, he has really good wrestling, good singles, good doubles. He's good at exchanging a bit, keeping fighters guessing, then ducking under for that level change. Good in the clinch. He, on top, is aggressive. He looks to pass. He has good ground and pound. In his last fight, he was able to take the back of Chris Gutierrez and earn a 10-8 round that way by kind of keeping the back the whole round. And he has pretty good control, pretty good submissions. His submission defense, if he gets put on his back, is not very good, though. He kind of can leave his neck out there to be guillotined. He gives his back when he tries to stand up. He got submitted actually by a guy who was 12-13 in 2018. But, he is training at ATT Atlanta. He's training with good jiu-jitsu guys like Juan Carnero. So that should be improving in my opinion. And, this is an intriguing fight because I think both guys have passed to victory. Durden needs to keep it on the feet, kind of try to outstrike Flick, use the leg kick, and keep in Flick's face, get him to the back up to the fence, and from there Durden could potentially get a TKO. Flick does only need 1 takedown, and he probably will get the submission, though, in my opinion, if he has time to work. But I don't think he's going to be the better wrestler, so I'm going to favor Durden. I think he can make it look easy if he fights smart. If he goes for takedowns and invites the ground game, he's going to give Flick a chance to win. But if Durden can just keep it on the feet, use his speed, use his power advantage, use his striking advantage, he should be able to go in there and probably get a KO, TKO finish in this fight. I am a little bit worried about the weight cut, like I said, but I'm actually going to go with Cody Durden, 2nd round knockout in this fight. In this next fight, we got Matt Wiman taking on the undefeated Jordan Leavitt. And Jordan Leavitt, he kept his perfect record intact. Last time out, he submitted Luke Flores in the 1st round of the Contender Series, earned a UFC contract. And Leavitt, he's now 7-0, and he's going to be taking on the most experienced fighter who's ever fought in Matt Wiman. But Leavitt is, he's fought some decent competition. I think that, Matt Wiman is a guy that's going to be a good transition for Jordan into the UFC, just because Matt Wiman hasn't really showed himself to be very good in recent years. But Jordan Leavitt, his striking is a little bit hard to describe. Jordan uses a lot of unorthodox feints, upper body movement, false starts, fake level changes, butt scoot attacks, and he's a very tough guy to fight or prepare for because it's hard to kind of gauge what he's going to do. He'll use a lot of kicks, front kicks, round kicks, flying kicks, Superman punches. And, I mean, he's using a lot of stuff just to close the distance to get it to the ground, but his striking is unorthodox, and it's weird, so it kind of could throw some guys off, and they could let Jordan win on the volume battle. But Jordan really uses his punches, his kicks, mostly as a distraction to get the takedown. And he's a great submission grappler. He's very flexible. He has a really funky style, getting the fight to the ground by any means necessary. Doesn't care about pulling guard, and he has a really good body lock game off the cage. Jordan also has decent level changes, but he's really good with the leg locks. He'll put fighters into leg entanglements, use those to sweep. Really good at sweeping from bottom, and when he gets on top, he's always very aggressive. Great back takes, front chokes, arm bars. Because of his confidence to fight from anywhere on the ground, he really pushes a high pace because it's a lot of scrambles. He's always looking for the submission. He's never static, and I think Wiman isn't going to be able to keep up with that grappling pace that Jordan brings. But Leavitt does have 5 submission victories in his 7 wins. And Matt Wiman, I mean, he must have something on Dana White or the matchmakers, man, because after 2 downright terrible performances, I mean, he's still getting another go here. For Matt Wiman, I mean, even return was strange due to him nearly taking 5 years off, and hasn't gone well for him. I mean, he's lost every round, maybe 10-8. He was finishing one of those 2 fights, and Wiman did have a good UFC career back in the day, but he hasn't won a fight since 2014. On the feet, Wiman is really bad. I mean, he's very slow, plodding, stands straight and flat-footed. He throws some leg kicks. He'll throw some decent straights, overhand rights. He'll look to close distance with some hooks. He'll use some Superman punches to get inside, but his athleticism is gone. He's very slow, flat-footed. I just don't think he's going to be a big danger to a lot of guys on the feet. Matt Wiman too, man. He's been thoroughly out-grappled in his last 2 UFC fights. In his match with Luis Pena, he got finished with ground and pound. He actually did land a couple single legs on Pena, but he got reversed very quickly after getting the takedowns, and Wiman just was way too eager to attack submissions, get into a dominant position. He makes bad decisions a lot, ends up on bottom. Off his back, he isn't terrible, but doesn't really look to get up, and he likes to play jiu-jitsu out bottom, go for submission, sweeps, attack X-guard, but his defense on bottom in terms of defending the ground and pound isn't very good. But he's always moving. He has a lot of heart. He'll look to catch the neck. He will throw some elbows off his back. But, man, I mean, I just don't know. His cardio has looked really bad in his 2 return fights also. In this fight, I just don't see Wiman having the athleticism or fight IQ to keep the fight standing, even if he has the better wrestling. And I just think Leavitt is the superior grappler. I think he's going to create scrambles, get Wiman tired, and then sub him. If Wiman does keep it on the feet and try to outstrike him, I think the fight might look a little bit like Gray Maynard versus Ryan Hall, where Matt Wiman is just getting frustrated because Leavitt isn't really striking with him the way that he wants him to, but Jordan is getting ahead just by being quicker, throwing kicks, going for the takedowns, and Wiman is just kind of complaining, taunting. So either way, whether Jordan wins via decision or whether he wins via submission, I think he's going to be able to pick up the win. So got to go with Jordan Leavitt here, and pretty confident he's going to get the win. And up next here, we got a rebooking with Luis Smolka taking on Teco Quiñónez, and don't remember exactly what happened, but I believe Smolka missed weight, then had some complications. They took the fight off, so hopefully he comes in here and makes weight this time, looks good, and they can, throw down. But Smolka is 7-7 in the UFC, 2-2 since he came back, so that's really the guy he is. He's 50-50, he's up and down, but he's been a fixture in the division. He's a tough out. He's always kill or be killed, and his last 7 fights have not gone to the scorecards. He's finished 14 of his 16 wins. He's improved his striking, and everyone already knows, his grappling is pretty good. He's a good scrambler, a good submission artist. And for Teco Quiñónez, he's kind of like a prospect tester in the UFC. If you can beat Teco, you could stay in the UFC. If you lose, you get cut type of guy. I don't really think he's a great striker. I mean, he has that Alliance MMA movement. He switches stances, throws a lot of feints, and tries to be in and out and use the jab and the low kicks. Pretty good front kicks, high kicks. He has a stick and move style. I mean, only 1 knockout, but bad defense. There's a lot of naked kicks. Also pulls back instead of moving his feet. Very hittable in boxing range. And he tends to get overwhelmed and just went out of there when guys get swarm him or land a few big shots on him. He seems a little bit chinny. He has good jiu-jitsu and he has pretty good timing on his body locks and on his trips, his double legs. He has good takedowns in the clinch, but on top he just isn't very aggressive. He just doesn't really have good top control either. He will throw some okay ground and pound from half guard and control you from there, but he's more of a guy that just, wants to move around, pull you into takedowns. He has the cardio to grapple for 3 rounds. Decent striking, kind of all-rounder, but, isn't a finisher. He only has 2 finishes in his career, and if you put him on his back, he isn't very good either. He shows poor fight IQ when he faces adversity. He gets overwhelmed a lot. He's been finishing 3 of his 4 losses. He's been submitted 1 time. I mean, the game plan for Tecco is just going to be try to use his speed, his superior movement, and, touch Smolka, maybe walk him into pull him into a few takedowns, control on top at the end of a round, try to stay out of trouble. But I actually feel like Smolka is going to be able to melt him, use that forward pressure, get on the inside, land some shots, force Tecco into a bad takedown, force him to make some sort of mistake and either TKO him or submit him. So I'm going to go with the finisher here, the more dangerous guy, and pick Luis Smolka to get the job done. Second round submission. In this next fight, man, we're going to be kicking off the main card with Movsar Evloev taking on Nate Landwehr. In my opinion, this is a great fight. A lot closer fight than the line indicates. And Movsar Evloev, he's once again a massive failure, man. I mean, almost like a minus 650, minus 700. And he's trying to make it 14-0 here. He's been excellent, flawless thus far in his UFC career, 3-0. And he's been able to dominate all 3 fights over 3-round decisions. Got unanimous decisions in all 3. He's going to be taking on a fighter they call Nate the Train, Nate Landwehr. Actually called him out, so it's going to be an interesting fight. On the feet, Evloev, he's awkward and effective. He's a little bit of a weird style. He's trained out of Tiger Muay Thai. He walks fighters down. He's a workhorse, really heavy 1-2s, throws stiff punches, good jab, good uppercut, good jab, overhand right. He has some good straight shots down the middle. He throws hard. He throws a lot of volume. And it's tough for fighters to get aggressive or get a good read on him because he has really good level changes. He'll throw some really heavy kicks, low kicks, body kicks. He even will throw some high kicks, front kicks to the face, spinning kicks. He'll try to dig with body shots. I'm sure his striking is going to be continuously improving as he's working at Tiger Muay Thai, working with guys like Gian. But, he's still a little bit stiff. His footwork and his lateral movement can get a little bit better. And he still can back up with his chin high. He doesn't really react the best to pressure to fighters that throw longer combinations. Enrique Barzola was able to tag him with some shots as he followed him with punches as he went straight backwards. And Evloev, in this fight with Nate Landwehr, it's not like Nate Landwehr has a lot of power, but he's not going to want Nate Landwehr to get in a rhythm and start to walk him down. So he needs to have his defense a little bit better in this fight, be a little bit sharper. But Movsar, he's an elite grappler. He's called the mini Khabib for a reason, man. He just mauls guys. His wrestling, is similar to Khabib's as well. He's not a freestyle wrestler. He doesn't shoot in on the legs too much. He's more Greco-Roman. He shoots in on the legs, but only to push you to the cage, take you down from there, take you down in the clinch. He'll get in on singles, doubles, then come up into body locks, and his level changes are really fast, though. He did struggle to take down Enrique Barzola, who's a very good scrambler. And Evloev, he's very good in the clinch against the cage. He'll land foot sweeps, body locks. In this fight, I think he needs to do some cage grinding. Get some time there to try to win, slow down Nate a little bit. Just dig the underhooks, muscle him against the cage, and land some knees, land some elbows. When he gets on top, Evloev, he likes to, get into half guard and just kind of smash opponents, stay heavy there. When guys stand up, he's really good at staying attached, landing mat returns. His ground and pound is good. He has good back takes. He has really good grappling cardio. His pressure, his pace, his riding ability are really good. He's been in 5-round fights and not slowed down. And even off his back, he's good at sweeping. He was taken down several times by Mike Grundy, but he showed really amazing scrambling ability. He was able to get out of some deep submissions. His cardio is really good, so he has 4 submissions, all rear naked chokes. His opponent, Nate Landwehr, I mean, this dude's a certified wild man. I mean, from the way he fights, to his pre-fight interviews, to his post-fight interviews, I mean, pure entertainment. And Nate Landwehr, he's confident. He asked for this fight. He has a good reason to have some confidence as well. If you look at Landwehr's career, he's made a living off beating these Russian wrestlers in M1. He is used to seeing this style, and we're going to see if he could pull it out again. But Landwehr is a dog, man. He's constantly walking his opponents down, looking for the kill. Isn't very technical, but he's gotten better at cutting the cage off, keeping his hands high, staying lighter on his feet. He'll look to use low kicks, front kicks to the body, but really does his best work in close range. He really has really good pocket fighting, good pull counters, good dirty boxing. He's very durable. He can keep a silly pace, man. He's infatigable. He has good short-range power in his straight punches, his hooks, his uppercuts. But he does load up on a lot of shots. He doesn't move his head. But the thing is, I mean, he just breaks guys down, ultimately takes them out. He usually has to be taken down or hit a couple times to wake up, though. He is a little bit of a slow starter. And he can struggle with faster fighters who can pot shot him and move. He can get walked into shots, and he's been dropped multiple times. But he's very durable. He recovers quickly. He did finally get put out with the massive knee against Herbert Burns. But, he's a guy that's going to fight for your money. He's not going to get finished easily. And he has 7 knockouts and 13 wins. He isn't an offensive wrestler. His defensive wrestling is improving, but not the greatest. I mean, his aggressiveness allows opponents to get in on his hips, and he can give up singles and doubles. But he's good at sprawling. He'll stuff the head. He'll attack front chokes. And when he can lock in a front choke, he'll really go for it. He's good at forcing opponents to their back or forcing them to go to sleep. And when he gets top position, he's devastating with ground and pound. He'll move to dominant positions and look to finish the job. And Landwehr doesn't really look for submissions. He's only looking to do damage with his ground and pound or hit those front chokes. When he does get put on his back, he can get held down, but he will try to explode up or belly down into a takedown attempt of his own. Against Herbert Burns, he showed the ability to really survive in a deep submission. And, he has no submissions. He was only submitted one time. That was a rear naked choke after he got dropped. But Landwehr fights in one way, man. That's reckless abandon. He'll come in shape. He brings a high pace, pressure forward, looks for the kill shot. If he gets a fighter hurt, he's usually going to get the finish. And unless you put him out, he's not going to stop coming. So that's a hard guy to fight. And I do feel like on the feet, it's going to be competitive. Because I think Landwehr is going to be able to land that low kick, land his straight punches. He's going to be throwing a lot of volume too. So they're going to go to war on the feet. And it's going to come down to if Evloev can take him down consistently, can use that chain wrestling to just win the fight. That'll be the difference, which I think he can. And I think Evloev can even win a striking battle because Nate, he's super hittable himself, man. And he kind of wins these fights off of being the more willing guy to take damage and give damage. But Movsar Evloev, he's another one of these guys that he has a little bit of an edge to him. He's a dog too. He's a little bit of a freak too. And I feel like if they engage in that type of fight, I think Movsar will oblige him as well and maybe be able to get the better of him in that type of fight as well. But if that happens, it's going to be a lot closer of a fight. So for me, I mean, all the value is on Nate Landwehr in terms of decision, but I'm going to go with Movsar Evloev as the pick. I think he's going to be able to get in there, just outstrike him, hit a couple takedowns, and win a decision here. But I feel like this line could be like minus 250, minus 300, not minus 600. So way too steep for me, but the pick is going to be Movsar Evloev. And in this next fight, we got Roman Dolidze taking on Gian, Allan. And Roman Dolidze had an amazing start to his UFC career. He went in there, decimated Kadesi Bergimov. And Dolidze 7-0, 5 first-round knockouts, and never been a decision. I like the guy. I mean, for a light heavyweight, he has decent boxing, good head movement, good slips, good counters, comes forward. He pops opponents with the jabs, with the left hooks. He likes to slip and throw that counter lead hook. And he has, good pocket shots, good uppercuts, good hooks, fight-ending power. He landed a big head kick in his last fight that dropped it, finished Ibragimov. He's also willing to engage in brawls, go blow for blow. His propensity to do that will probably get him knocked out eventually. He is a bit stiff in exchanges, and I've seen him wobbled in a couple fights. But Dolidze will kind of get wide with overhands with hooks, and it makes him susceptible to counters, but it also makes him dangerous as well. His one fight that went to round 3 was a war, though, and he showed good cardio. He was pressing the whole fight, walking his opponent down, and in the 3rd round, he landed a really nice spinning back fist that ended the show. And he's finished his last 4 fights all by knockout. He's also a pretty good grappler. He's a former ADCC Worlds participant. He's an aggressive submission fighter. He's a solid wrestler. Good level changes for a big guy. He has a good single leg. He'll push fighters to the fence. He can chain wrestle. And when he gets on top, he's dangerous. He'll go for leg locks. He has nice back takes. He's a gorilla on top. He'll get to dominant positions and just unload with huge shots. He's fallen in love with his striking lately after using his grappling to win his early fights. His first 3 matches, he won via submission, 2 heel hooks, and a rear naked choke. He's he's still green. He's only 7-0, but he's a good fighter, a good prospect. And Allan, he's making his comeback following his no contest against Mike Rodriguez. Allan won the fight. It was actually a big upset, but failed a USADA test. The win was overturned, and he hasn't fought since July of 2019, serving his suspension. So it's going to be interesting to see if he looks exactly the same. But Allan, he's a guy that likes to pressure guys and win through having the superior cardio. His last one was pretty impressive. It was arguably the best performance of his career. Allan, for his size, he's fast in and out. He has good feints. He'll throw some heavy low kicks both inside and outside. He has a good jab. He'll try to back guys to the cage, work his jab and combinations off the jab, jab overhand rights, jab hooks. He throws fast punches in the pocket, but he can't overextend. He does leave himself open to counters. When his opponents push him backwards, he doesn't really deal with forward pressure well. He has switched stances a lot in previous fights, but in his last fight against Mike Rodriguez, he wasn't switching stances. He does like to kick more when he switches to southpaw. He has pretty good round kicks to the legs, to the body, to the head. He doesn't really throw the kicks with power, but he just kind of throws them to touch you. He'll mix in some nice elbows. He looks like a strong guy. He trains at Shootbox, and he looks like he could brawl. He's in good shape. And, in this fight, Allan shouldn't have to worry about a lot of, wrestling. Potentially, Dolidze will go down to the grappling, but I'm not 100% sure he will. Allan does have 8 knockouts in his career, and he's never been finished by strikes, so he definitely is a guy that's durable. He's not a good grappler, though. He allows fighters to get in on his legs. He, is easy to take down against the cage. When he gets put on his back, he's very vulnerable. This is a guy that lost to Vinicius Moreira, Mamouche, who we've seen in the UFC look really bad, and Moreira was able to dominate him when he got on top. He almost submitted him at the end of the first round, then took him down again in the second round and submitted him. And Allan isn't likely to grapple in this fight, but I have seen him use his punches to crash the distance and try to clinch against the cage. His takedowns aren't really good, but he was able to take down Mike Rodriguez in the clinch, and he will look to wrap up the neck. And he was submitted, though, with the mounted triangle versus Moreira. He's been submitted 4 times in his career. He will look for arm triangles. He has 3 submissions, but in this fight, I have to favor Roman Dolidze. I think on the feet, he's a bit bigger, but, it is pretty close on the feet. Dolidze probably hits harder. He's a bit more explosive, a little faster. But I just favor him heavily in the grappling. Cardio-wise, I kind of favor Allan, but both can hold up, I feel like. And if Roman just comes in here with a good game plan, gets him down, he's going to submit him. So I'm actually going to go with the Roman Dolidze first-round submission. But if this ends up being a striking fight, that could, make a lot of people sweat. So I'm going with Roman Dolidze if he fights smart, and that's going to be my pick here. And up next here, we got Montana De La Rosa taking on Taila Santos. And Taila Santos looked good the last time we saw her. She was an underdog, but she went in there and she basically dominated Molly McCann in all facets of the game. I'm glad we got to see that type of performance from Santos because she didn't show her true skill set in her debut. I feel she had jitters or something going into that fight, and Santos' record other than that is flawless. She's 16-1. She's probably going to get a ranking next to her name if she can beat Montana De La Rosa. And Santos, she hasn't faced much high-level competition. She does hold wins over Giselle Moreira, a good fighter that defeated Carol Rosa. She's beaten Molly McCann, Stephanie Almeida. She's finished 11 of her 16 wins in the first round. But she's a very skilled fighter. Taila, she's a forward pressure girl. Santos, she likes to control distance behind the jab, behind the low kicks. Really nice jab to low kick combinations. And she'll throw some really fast jab cross or jab hook combos, hook cross combos. She has no issue just touching opponents, keeping them at bay, pot shotting them. Santos attacks the body very well. She'll throw good front kicks, round kicks to the body, good high kick. She likes to counter with the jabs, the crosses, with the check hooks as she goes backwards. Pretty tight, sharp counters. She can't pull back with her chin high, but she's usually good at just sliding just out of range, so it doesn't matter. If fighters come forward with more than one, they might be able to land on Santos a little bit. But, Santos, she is good with the footwork, getting out of the way most of the time. And she definitely has big power herself. And she can be controlled in the clinch if fighters can back her to the fence. She did spend a large majority of her fight with Mara Barella there. But she's good at making fighters pay for wanting to get a hold of her. She has pretty good control against cage herself. She will dig underhook. She has good head positioning. She was able to dominate the clinch against Molly McCann. She got that Muay Thai plum, let go with big elbows, big knees. And she can wrestle herself. When fighters pressure her, she can duck under, hit takedowns, good body locks. In her fight on the Dana Contender Series, she was able to take the back from standing, control the rest of the round in that position. And that's her thing when she gets on top. She wants to take your back, then take your neck. And she was able to hit a nice body lock transition to the back versus Mara Barella. She had multiple body locks against Molly McCann. Santos was able to dominate on top versus McCann. She didn't get a lot of damage off, but she kept McCann on her back and moved into some dominant positions. She did a good job attacking the neck when McCann went to stand up, kept her on bottom. And Barella did kind of lay a blueprint to defeat Santos. You have to crash the space, not let her find her range, look to slow her down with the grappling, control her against the cage, use your striking to back her up, and then go for the takedown. And if you can get her on her back, then she's not the best. So that's something that she struggles with. As far as Montana De La Rosa, she's actually been in the UFC for a while now. This is going to be her 7th fight, and she's fared pretty well. She's 4-2 in those 6 fights. When you look a little deeper into it, though, the fighters she's beaten in the UFC are bottom of the barrel. I mean, none of the girls De La Rosa has defeated have winning records in the UFC. Her 2 losses came against girls in the top 15, but she wasn't really super competitive with either girl. Still, though, at 25 years old, I do think De La Rosa is getting better every time we see her. She's not a great striker, but her last fight, her striking did probably look the best it ever looked. She was using her reach a lot better. She was using her jab, her lead hook, and she was double jabbing in the range for the right hand. She landed a really nice counter right hand that dropped Mara Barella, actually, and her straight right hand and her left hook keep getting sharper. She is improving her hands. She will throw some low kicks, some oblique kicks. She'll look to throw the front round kicks to the body, some side kicks, some high kicks, but not a dangerous striker. Vivi Araujo did struggle a little bit with the reach early on, but when Araujo started feinting, Montana really bit on the feints and let go with their own strikes. Araujo was able to counter her pretty easily. But De La Rosa has improved her head movement. Her defense overall isn't the best. Fighters have had a lot of success countering Montana's jab. Vivi Araujo was able to land just about every overhand right she threw. And De La Rosa's face gets busted up pretty easily. Her nose tends to break in a lot of fights, and she's also super heavy on her lead leg. I think that's going to be a huge issue for her versus Santos. She doesn't really have much power, and she's going to be at a big power disadvantage in this fight. She has 0 KO TKO wins, and she's only been finished by strikes 1 time. She's definitely tough. She's durable. She's going to be looking to get this fight to the mat. She has good timing on her level changes, good top game, good job staying tenacious when she goes for that single. She'll try to use the single to take the back, drive opponents to the cage, catch kicks, hit takedowns off that as well. De La Rosa uses her frame well in the clinch. She's long. She uses that to control fighters against the cage. When she gets fighters to the mat, she has good control there as well. She's always looking to take the back, good rear naked chokes, good arm bars. She has 7 submission wins. In this matchup, I feel she's going to be much physically weaker than Santos, though. That was the issue in her fights with Andrea Lee and Vivi Araujo. They were able to outmuscle her, hit takedowns of their own. And De La Rosa is a super tough girl. She doesn't have quit in her, and she can push for 15 minutes. But I do see the low kicks adding up for Santos. I think Taila can win this fight with the jab and the low kicks alone. When De La Rosa tries to clinch, Santos needs to have that frame, the Muay Thai plum ready to go, throw some knees, disengage. I think Santos can put Montana on her back also if she wants to. And Taila Santos, she's just going to be the better athlete. She's going to be technically a little better everywhere. So I got to go with Taila Santos here to get the win via decision. And this fight should be a banger right here, man, with Justin Jaynes taking on Gabriel Benitez. Mowgli Benitez, he's going to need to avoid losing 3 fights in a row here. The veteran, he's always been a fun fighter to watch, and recently he hasn't performed bad. He just has come up a little bit short. He's coming in here off a loss to Omar Morales, which was an absolute war. And previous to that, he was in there with one of the best featherweight prospects in the UFC. So he's been getting no easy touches lately. And Benitez, he's staying at 155 here. But he's taking on another guy in Justin Jaynes, who's kind of a fellow 145er. Benitez, he's a very good striker, man. Really tough. He's going to have a 4.5-inch reach advantage in this fight. And he's good at staying long. He's a southpaw. He's a really good jab, good 1-2. Sharp punches. He controls range well. He rips the body with big right hooks and really nasty kicks, man. He throws brutal low kicks, round kicks, front kicks to the body. Very tough, durable. He definitely packs some power. His defense is pretty good, but, he can get hit a little bit in exchanges. And he has been finished in the first round a couple times by strikes. He's not a grappler, though. He just has 1 takedown in 8 UFC fights. His takedown defense has improved a lot, but it's still questionable. He's been taken down 18 times, and he's only defended 56% of his takedown attempts against him. Off of his back, though, he does have a good get-up game. He's hard to hold down. When he fought Enrique Barzola, he was able to stand up 8 times, but he did get taken down 9. And Benitez does have great guillotines. He'll counter takedown attempts with guillotines, jump on him if he rocks opponents. In this fight, I think Justin Jaynes is going to be the better wrestler, and Mowgli has to be ready to defend some takedown attempts, especially in the second and third round. But Benitez, he has 11 submissions. He's been submitted only twice. He's a veteran. He has good cardio, and he's always going to be a tough out for anyone that he fights. But Justin Jaynes, he almost won his last fight. It was another fun back-and-forth fight. He had Gavin Tucker on the ropes in the first round. He almost finished him with an uppercut and then with a guillotine, but gassed out, lost the last 2 rounds, and now he's moving back up to 155 pounds where he says his cardio is going to be better. His lone win in the UFC was at 155 where he went in there and, flatlined Frank Camacho. Lately, when Justin Jaynes wins, that's what happens. His last 5 wins were all first-round finishes. Jaynes' striking, though, is pretty basic. He has good low kicks, good forward pressure, and on the inside, he has some pretty vicious power. He likes to shoot in, close distance with the straight right hand. When he gets on the inside, he'll switch stances and throw that uppercut. And that uppercut dropped Gavin Tucker in the first round. He'll also throw some really nice hooks, overhands, good head movement on the inside. He'll slip and return with power shots. And he goes to the body well. He'll mix it up body head with combinations. Good front knees up the middle. The issue with Jaynes' striking style is he just has a short reach. Isn't a great athlete. And he could struggle to get on the inside. Gavin Tucker spent the second, the third round just peppering up Justin Jaynes from the outside. And in this fight, I think he's really going to struggle to get past the kicks and the straight shots of Gabriel Benitez. But he's going to need to time on one of these counter shots and look to, get a knockout because that's what he, that's his path to victory here. But he is a good wrestler. That's another way he could win. He's a former college wrestler, good jiu-jitsu as well. And he can hit good double legs. In his last fight, he never really shot. And when he did shoot, it was a bad takedown that got reversed in the third round. But on top, Jaynes has good control, good back-taking ability. He'll throw some good ground and pound, pretty good takedown defense. He has a good guillotine, good front headlock position in general. Like I said, he almost got Gavin Tucker in that guillotine. He'll snap guys down, control him from there. He's good at using the guillotine to sweep in and out. But off of his back, he's not very good. I mean, he almost got submitted with the arm triangle in the first round against Gavin Tucker. Ultimately got submitted with that rear naked choke in the third. That was the first time Justin Jaynes has been finished in his career. But, he hasn't been facing the highest level competition throughout his whole career. And Jaynes, he's pretty solid. He has a fun style to watch. He has 5 submission victories. This is a good fight. Mowgli is going to be the longer, taller, more technical guy. He's going to be throwing straighter, tighter punches. Jaynes going to be looking to get on the inside. Jaynes isn't a super active wrestler, but he may have to grapple here to get the win. My take on this fight is that Mowgli probably going to have the edge on the feet. He's longer, he's faster. The kicks are going to add up. Mowgli just has to avoid that first round power of Jaynes, be ready for the takedown threat. Mowgli has already fought and defeated a similar guy to Justin Jaynes, in my opinion, in Sam Cecilia. He was able to pick him apart from range, get him to shoot a bag takedown, caught him in a guillotine. And I kind of see that happening here. I mean, if you watch that fight with Gavin Tucker, Justin Jaynes got dominated other than that one moment where he dropped him with the uppercut, almost had the guillotine. So as long as Mowgli can avoid that, I think he's going to dominate the fight too. And I'm actually going to go with Mowgli via third round KO, TKO, or submission. So give me Gabriel Benitez to win this fight. And moving on here to the co-main event, we got a really intriguing fight here with Jamahal Hill taking the step up here, facing Ovince St. Preux, who's a perennial guy in the division. And this is a big opportunity for Jamahal Hill, just his second fight in the UFC. He's moving up the ladder really quickly. He's taking on a former title challenger. And St. Preux is a bit old in the tooth, but beating St. Preux definitely means something for sure. And Ovince St. Preux, I mean, this is going to be his 23rd time he's going to walk to the octagon. He's fought the who's who. He's been kind of became a gatekeeper, kind of a tester for the blue chip prospects in recent years. He's won some, he's lost some, but still proven to be a tough out. We saw him really dominate Alonzo Menafield in his last fight as an underdog. And I mean, OSP is always going to be dangerous because he's awkward. He has that southpaw style. He throws a really nice high kick. He has power in his straights. He can close the distance very quickly. He can grapple. When he gets on top, he has unorthodox submissions. He has good cardio. He's durable. He, has a lot of positives about him. But the thing about Jamahal Hill that I like, man, is just his accuracy, his ability to land shots straight down the middle, his body attacks, his volume. I mean, Jamahal Hill's a guy that his striking is really, really impressive to me because he throws a lot of volume. He just touches you with shots, good footwork. I mean, we could say that maybe his takedown defense has been not the best in some of his fights, and sometimes he can pull back, so that kind of gets me a little bit worried. If Ovince St. Preux blitzes him to the cage, can he take him down? Can he land a flurry and hurt him? There's potential in that, but I do feel like overall, on the feet, Hill is going to be really long, rangy. He's going to be southpaw, which Ovince has kind of struggled with a little bit, even though, the southpaws he's lost to have been beasts. Dominic Reyes, I think that, I can't remember the other southpaw he lost to, but another high-level guy. But the thing is, if you watch the Reyes fight, I'm not saying Jamahal Hill is Dominic Reyes, but he's long, he's rangy, he's athletic, he throws straight punches, he throws hard kicks, he attacks the body, and his speed is a big, big thing. I think his speed's going to be a lot faster than Ovince St. Preux. So I just feel like Jamahal Hill, as long as he can keep it on the feet, he's going to be able to have the advantages. I think he's going to be able to be the guy landing first, landing harder, landing more combinations, landing the higher volume of strikes. Ovince, he's always been a low volume guy that looks for the kill shot, looks for his opportunity to hit the takedown, and he's going to need to get his finish here. His last 6 wins were all finishes. He's not a guy that's going to be able to get a decision victory, I don't think. I don't think he's going to come in here and get takedowns and just dominate on top positionally. If he gets on top, he'll probably get the finish. But the thing is, to get on top in this fight, I think he's going to have to shoot takedowns like double singles, which he's not traditionally ever done very well or been used to doing. And I don't think he's all of a sudden going to do it because I don't see him being able to get in the clinch with Jamahal Hill. I don't think he's going to be able to close that distance. If he does, Hill has good knees, good elbows, and the ability to disengage, be strong there. So I just kind of favor Jamahal Hill. I don't think it's going to be like Alonzo Menafield where Alonzo was closing that distance for OSP, allowing them to, kind of get connected, created a lot of grappling situations. He got tired, and then OSP did what he had to do and knocked him out. But Jamahal Hill, I think Jamahal Hill is going to come in here with the better cardio. I think he's going to come in here sharp, ready to go, being the faster guy, outstriking OSP, avoiding the grappling, keeping it on the feet, using his footwork, the range, pulling him into shots. And I got to go with Jamahal Hill here. I don't know if he's going to get a finish because I do feel like Jamahal Hill doesn't really have a lot of big power in his punches. He has more power in his kicks, his knees, his body attacks. So I could see it being a decision, but I could also see him getting OSP tired and him finishing him. So I'm going to definitely go with Jamahal Hill to get the win here. And I think he's going to get it done in a pretty impressive fashion. And ultimately in the main event here, finally we got Jack Hermansson taking on Marvin Vettori. And Vettori's back a little bit quicker than expected. I mean, he was scheduled to face Jacare Souza in a couple weeks, but he's accepted this short notice call. He's going to be taking on Jack Hermansson. This is a very pivotal fight for career trajectory for either guy. I mean, it's Vettori's first main event. If he wins here, he's going to jump into that top 10. If Hermansson wins, then he's going to be a guy that's knocking right there again for another top 5 opponent. Hermansson, he went in there in his last fight, did what he had to do, got back in the win column, took out a really tough Kelvin Gastelum in the first round. And Hermansson, he's been hovering around that top 10, top 5 for a while now. Needs a win over Vettori to maintain his position. This can't be a letdown spot for Hermansson. He was initially going to face Darren Till, which was a huge fight that could have moved him up the rankings. Then was scheduled to face Kevin Holland, who's been on a tear this year, making a lot of noise. And now he's facing Marvin Vettori, and Hermansson needs to keep his concentration high, not overlook Vettori. Hermansson has had this happen to him before, where he was very close to a title shot after beating Jacare Souza, took the chance, fought against Jared Cannonier and got finished. So that's maybe in the back of his mind as well. But this fight is a good fight for it to be on short notice. You have Marvin Vettori, who's going to be trying to make his name off Hermansson. Hermansson's looking to earn a little bit more respect for himself. And even though Hermansson's a more experienced fighter in terms of fighting higher level competition, being the main event before, he's still the underdog here. Vettori, he's the guy that's been on a better run lately. He's won 3 in a row, pretty dominant fashion since returning from his USADA suspension. Hermansson, he got that huge win his last fight, but he had the setback in his previous fight to Jared Cannonier. And with this fight, both these guys are finishers. Marvin Vettori does have the durability advantage, though. He's never been finished in his career. But the thing about Vettori, he doesn't really pack big power. And big power is what has given Hermansson issues over his career. I doubt Vettori, is going to try to go in here and just get a first round knockout, though, or anything like that. He's not going to come in here and try to just take Hermansson. I mean, yeah, he is, but he knows that this is a 5-round fight, so he's going to pace himself well. Hermansson, I mean, he's a guy that's finished 17 of his 21 wins. He does have the experience of fighting and winning in a 5-round decision, though. He has a better record in decisions as well, where he's 4-1 in decisions. Vettori is 4-4. The thing about Jack Hermansson, I mean, the positives for him going into this fight is he's going to be the better athlete, and he's going to be the little bit of a bigger guy. He's going to have a small height advantage, a good reach advantage. He's going to have a big advantage in the leg reach in terms of the kicking, things like that. And Hermansson's a guy that has really good movement. He has arguably the best movement in the division. Very quick, moves a lot on the outside. And the thing about his striking, though, is just not very dangerous. I mean, he uses a lot of kicks. He has really hard low kicks, which that's going to be pivotal for this fight. He needs to hurt that low calf of Marvin Vettori, or at least slow him down. And attack the body as well with the kick. Then you can go up high later on in the fight. He'll use the jab, but he's not really comfortable with his hands with the boxing because he knows his boxing defense isn't good. I don't think he has a great chin either. He doesn't really like to get hit, so he doesn't like to exchange in the pocket. Isn't really dangerous with the striking in terms of knocking guys out. The thing about Hermansson, obviously, is he pulls guys into his kicks enough where they get, worried about the striking, then he takes you down, and when he gets on top, he's a motherfucker, man. I mean, he has nasty ground and pound, great positional awareness. When he takes the back, he'll flatten you out, he'll look for the rear naked choke, but if it's not there, he'll just unload with big shots, take you out. He can take you down, control you as well. Even high-level guys like Jacare Souza, he showed that. And he's just a good fighter, man. He's good overall. But, in terms of his defensive grappling, that's actually something that, I mean, it's pretty good. He has good takedown defense. He keeps a wide base. He's hard to take down against the cage. But in a couple fights, like when he fought Cesar Muntachi, he was able to time his kicks, take him down off the kicks. Same thing happened against Talis Leitis. And when he gets taken down, when he gets put on his back, I mean, both those guys, Talis Leitis, Cesar Muntachi, they're high-level black belts, so no shame there. But he kind of gets dominated. I mean, he was almost submitted with the arm triangle against Talis Leitis. He did get submitted with the arm triangle against Cesar Muntachi. I mean, his arm triangle defense is pretty good. But, I mean, he's definitely not part of the quick tap club. But he allows himself to get put in that position too easily. And, against Marvin Vettori, I feel like he's not going to be the physically stronger of the two guys, which is really going to hurt his style, because when you see him fight guys that are more physical than him, even though they have power as well, but they're also just more physical. The Thiago Santoses, the Jared Cannoniers, the Cesar Montanches of the world. So he struggled with guys that are stronger than him, that could work takedowns themselves. And that's something that Marvin Vettori definitely could do in this fight. Marvin could control him against the cage, could work body locks, could go for takedowns. And on the feet, Marvin is going to be the superior guy, in my opinion. I think that the thing is, though, he's going to be slower. So Hermansson can potentially have a chance to move, throw kicks, frustrate Marvin, get Marvin to overextend, then take him down and win that fight that way and be able to win the striking just through his speed advantage and his movement. But I think that eventually Marvin's going to be able to cut him off, get a beat on what he's trying to do, get on the inside, and he's going to have a clearly big advantage with the boxing, with the hand combinations. I don't necessarily think he's going to have the power to put Hermansson down, but I think he's going to get him uncomfortable. I think that he's going to get him to start shooting some bad takedowns, and I think that when that happens, that's when Marvin is going to start to, show that he can grapple too. I don't think he's going to be necessarily, or I don't know if he's necessarily the superior grappler to Hermansson, but I think he can be the superior grappler in the fight if he could force Hermansson to shoot bad takedowns, or if he can back him up with the striking, get him to think about the striking, get on top. Whoever's on top in this fight is going to be the guy winning, in my opinion. I don't see Hermansson landing a leg lock off his back like he did against Calvin Gastelum. I don't really see him hitting submissions off his back. I just think if he does get taken down, Vettori is going to be able to smash, stay on top, land some big ground and pound, maybe even get a finish. So in terms of the cardio, I got to favor Hermansson, and that's another interesting tidbit to the fight because Marvin isn't a power guy, so I think it is going to probably be going into these later rounds. And if Hermansson can kind of, make it a higher paced fight, then potentially you could get Marvin tired. And Marvin, if he shoots in poorly too, or if he has a bad takedown or something like that, Jack Hermansson always has that disgusting guillotine, man, that he goes to. So that's a game changer. That's like a finishing weapon for Hermansson that he can always go to. And that's the most dangerous thing that either guy has. I think it's more dangerous than any weapon that Marvin has. But I just feel like Marvin, his meat and potato style, his forward pressure, his volume is going to be superior on the feet unless he's going to be significantly slower, which I don't think so. I think eventually he's going to be able to find the beat on Hermansson, and I think he's just going to be the more physical guy. So I think if Hermansson goes for takedowns, Marvin could stuff. I think if Marvin goes for takedowns, even if Hermansson stuffs, I could see him control it against the cage. I could see him, potentially getting some takedowns too. So my pick is going to be Marvin Vettori via decision in this fight, and I'm not super confident. I'm not going to bet on it or anything because I feel like, it is probably, I feel like he should be the favorite, but it is it's a prove me type fight. If he wins this fight, he's going to prove that he's in the top 10, top 5. So big fight for both guys, but I'm actually going to go with Marvin Vettori. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Like I said in the beginning of the video, please make sure to put a like down below. Let's try to get to 500 likes. Last week, almost 500. That was pretty badass, man. So if we can get to 500 likes, I'll be super happy about that, and that'll be sick, man. So I really appreciate all the support that you guys give me. But for the most confident pick of the card for this card, it's going to be Jordan Leavitt. Parlay of the week for this card is going to be Gabriel Benitez and Taila Santos. And for the underdog of the week, it's going to be Cody Durden and Damon Jackson. I'll give you a couple underdog plays for that week. And just another quick shout out for the Mecca for Mr. Arkansas's channel. I already shouted out a little bit before, but it's kind of like, like the challenge, like, where it's with picks, but we have head-to-head matchups. And if you're in the bottom, you get voted off. So there's a little bit of drama involved. It's a little bit fun. I'm going to be going against Sally this week. It's the final 8. So hopefully I can win that and, be the champion of the first season of the Mecca too. But shout out to Mr. Arkansas's channel for putting that on. And, yeah, guys, hopefully we do well on this card. Hopefully we continue to make some money. Bill Algio got us that win last week as the play of the week. So we're going to hopefully move that into this week as well. And, yeah, man, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to hit that like, put a comment down below, and I'll talk to you guys later.